It's 360, so we're seeing everything
What?
at all times.
You're kidding me?
No,
I don't see myself on there, but you do over there. Or that's how
we will.
Okay.
So-
360. Okay.
Like I said, so the discussion is the origins of Frissell and the 50 years of Frissell.
51.
Wide-ranging discussion.
51.
The overall, the way you feel when you walk in doesn't change much.
The kids came with friends, the friends came, the kids had kids, you know, they got married. I don't think we ever envisioned it being quite like it is, but now it's, people will come to me and say, when's camping? Our kids, our grandkids, and their friends feel like this is a very special place.
So Uncle Rick will start with you, and you guys can jump in whenever, as we do as a family. Tell us about the first time you came up here and why
And
you
why
came up
you
here the
found
first
it.
time.
Okay, well, so I always liked the camp, and I like to get away from the big sites. For instance, tightly packed campgrounds, lakes where there are just a zillion people going to the same little beach, and so on. So we were in Portland area, and I bought, for like $20, I bought like every national forest map in both Washington and Oregon. It was amazing at that time. And I found this on a map. So I said, why don't we just try it and we'll give it a shot. So we came down here and we loved it. Fell in love with it immediately. It's this incredibly mature forest. The road from the lake or the reservoir to here was not paved. Nobody knew what After Heidi Drive meant, which has since become a major feature that Oregon promotes, like this is a drive you want to take, et cetera, et cetera. We've hated all of that promotion, but it was great. Anyway, so we came, and the bathroom was way down at the end. It was an old standard.
There were two bathrooms,
Well,
two outhouses.
Yeah, okay. And anyway, there's been a lot of change. I'm sure we'll talk about it. There's been a lot of change since then, but that's how we got here the first time. And you know, the Willis family was with us. At that time, the Willis family consisted of David and Susan.
Do you remember the first time?
Yes, very much.
What do you remember about it?
We stayed in number 6.
Did they have numbers at that point? Do you remember
Oh,
when
yes.
they did? Okay.
Same.
We
It's the
stayed in
same.
number 6, and it was really cold. Remember that, it was really cold. Greg Baker was not yet 3. He was going to turn 3.
Yep.
And Kim was 6. And there's a vivid memory I have of Uncle Rick and your dad carrying Greg and Kim on their shoulders, walking through the meadow. If you go all the way through 6, that was that day. And we just fell in love with, like Uncle Rick said, we fell in love with this place. It was like nothing we'd ever seen before, and we just had to come back. We just had to come back.
Were you okay with the long gravel road drive?
It was scary for me because Uncle Rick has always loved to go out in the BFW, BFE. And I thought, well, where are we going and where are we going? And by the way, Kimmy wasn't 6 yet. She wasn't 6, she was 5. She was 5. And so we have 2 little kids in the car. But we got here and it was, nobody was here. And we went down there, and at the time there was a canopy, a beautiful canopy of
Vine maples.
And on
An
the river,
archway.
and they had an archway, and the kids played under this little bridge that went over the
There's a little rivulet coming down.
Rivulet, whatever. And Rick used to fish, and we get trout. That time we did it. Well, we did it several years after that too. But we'd eat trout, fresh trout.
Yep.
And nobody knew about this place. And the old growth. I mean, it was like. It's still just absolutely fantastically beautiful. And so we tried a couple of other campgrounds after that. We came back here maybe the next year, Suze, I can't remember. We tried Roaring River, which is a group campsite.
Marion Forks.
Yeah, and it just never quite had the charm of this, so then we just started doing it every year.
Well, it's a long way. This is one of the issues.
4 hours.
From in fact, the people who were here just with us right now, they're all from Eugene, which is like 60 miles away. And we are, I don't know, 150 miles away or something. So it's...
Well, and it also then you couldn't reserve spots. Not until the last few years.
So
'cause you was-
we would come down here on the hopes that we'd be able to get a spot. And that if we didn't, we'd write a note on the gate that said, come to the next campground. And we had one year where we camped on the other side of the road, and like 2 nights in, there was an opening on the river, and we picked up the tent.
all of our tents.
We picked them all up and dragged them across the road and repositioned them. There were weekends when we had rain, torrential rain. We just had to throw things in the back of the car and beat feet and get out.
And a few times we get up in the morning and think, oh, we'll just hang out here for a while before we break camp. And then, of course, waited 2 minutes too long, and pretty soon we're loading the car in the rain. And it's been cold. This is the hottest it's ever been, and also the coldest. Night before last, it was like, I think, 37 degrees.
Yeah, that's
It was
unusual. That's
So
a
climate
range.
change has
It's
done a
strange.
number to this place. Lots of fallen trees. The other thing I want to say is the first time we came, there were 6. Last year for the 50th, there were how many? 30?
Over 30.
Over 30. The kids came with friends. The friends came. The kids had kids. You know, they got married.
Well,
People-
you came, and you bring your friends now, and,
And
they're
then-
bringing their
and
kids.
they're bringing, like this year we only have 28. This is
Oh.
kind of a low year this year.
Yeah.
And because of Adam's suggestion, 3-4 years ago, we decided we'd try and rent the whole damn campground, which is tricky.
It's a small campground. How many total?
11.
11 places, yeah.
There used to be 12, right?
Well,
Yeah.
it technically is a 12th, but
Yeah.
it's not preservable.
not.
and
Nobody
not
would stay
improved,
there.
really.
Yeah.
So anyway, there used to be 2 outhouses. One was way on the hill over here, and one was down there. And then this one moved down
Twice.
twice.
It's come down twice.
It
Yeah.
had to come down
Yeah.
twice. And now there's somebody that comes in and cleans it 2 or 3 times a week, and you can reserve it. And so yeah, it's moved into the 21st century.
We're
But-
still camping in tents.
Yes.
We're still using tents. We're
Wait,
not
is
using.
that tent date back to 73? Is that the,
It's
the only tent?
1973, G.I. Joe's,
Wow.
made by Hirsch Weiss, which is
White Stag?
White Stag Company. It's amazing. Other than the door meshing, which your mother fixed
redid.
for us, that is the only kind of repair we've ever had to make for that tent. It's incredible.
And Ricky Parker,
Everything
our
else
grandson,
still works. Yeah,
Ricky
he's claimed it.
Parker, our grandson,
Yeah.
said, "Would you
He's
leave
got
that in the
this.
will for me? I want it. She wants it."
Do you guys remember, was there a conscious decision made when it was like, okay, we're coming to Frissell every year? Or did it just sort of happen?
It morphed.
Yeah.
I think it happened. We tried others, as Susan said, and there's another one on the other side of this ridge here, and we didn't like that. And obviously, there was always a "do we really have to go that far?" kind of question. And my answer was, "Yeah, we
Yes.
do. We want to go
Okay,
that far."
one year we said, "Okay, let's go to Washington because it's not that
Gifford
far."
Pinchot.
Yeah,
We went up to
yeah.
Adams Fork.
Adams Fork.
Oh, this was rain, right?
And this was
You were right.
yeah, this was rain, and Rick's brother Bud went with us.
Adam was 3.
And we got up there, and it started to rain, and we didn't have any rain gear, so we put trash bags on the kids. And Bud kept
right.
saying, "Well, I think it's
gonna
breaking up.
clear up. It's
breaking
gonna
up."
clear up.
So we stayed another night, and then we go into town, and we go into a restaurant or a bar, and go back to our camps. It's clearing up. We were up there 5 nights in the rain.
Something like that. And by the way, Uncle Bud started coming when he moved to Oregon, which was in
Oh, he came before he came.
No,
He
did
came out a
Did
couple
he?
of times.
Really, before?
When he came out, when he was visiting.
Anyway, he moved here in '99, and then he came regularly until he finally said, "Yeah, it's too much." His doctor said, who was like 45, said, "I don't sleep on the ground when I go camping." So maybe you shouldn't at 80, whatever his age was at that point in time. So anyway, so we've
Also,
lost one.
I think the truth is also we've changed our bedding. we're still in tents. We're still in tents, but we started out with air mattresses that, of course, always died.
Oh, we started out with
Foam.
1-inch foam pads.
Yeah.
Oh no,
we had those
we
cats,
actually
too.
we graduated to those because those didn't die in the middle of the night, and the air mattresses always died in the middle
So
of the
you'd
night.
be on the ground.
And then we went to pads, and then I think about 5 years ago we started thinking, let's move up. So we moved up. And, we got air
Cots.
mattresses for Christmas, king size air that didn't work because they kept dying, and so now what we have is improvised air
Cots.
cots. Well, but it's also sleep number. So what we have is we have 2 cots and then 2 air mattresses that are zipped together. But I can pump
But they're
mine
separate.
higher.
They're separate.
And Rick has have his lower. And then of course we put
Pillows.
well, we have to put the mattress pad on, and
Yes.
then we put the fitted sheets.
Wow.
And then,
Yes.
then we put
The comforter.
no, not a comforter. Last year we had, I always bought the heavy blanket, but last year I forgot the blanket, so fortunately Susan had comforters, and then you put another thing on, another layer, and then down pillows.
Down pillows.
And as she said, we do have a sleep number bed at home. And I'm at a 35 and she's at a 70. So having 2 separate air mattress
love it.
situations would work best
And
for
we
us.
also went from having propane, well, not even propane. Uncle Rick had a stove that ran on white gas.
Well, it was it's
And then
called
you'd have to-
basically
And a
white gas,
lamp.
yeah.
And a
You'd
lantern,
and you'd
too.
have to
Yeah.
pump it, and every once in a while the gas would get on the stove and it would ignite, and then the stove would be on fire. Do you remember that? And then
No,
we had the same. You had the same kind of lantern, didn't
Yes,
you? We
yes.
had one of those.
And you
Well,
get the
that's all that was
mantles.
available
You had to
in
get
those
the
days.
mantles.
Plus, I don't like to throw things away.
Yes.
And they worked perfectly well until it started not to work perfectly well, and I thought it was going to set the forest on fire. So.
I will tell you one other thing that I just wanted to throw in. I have one of the remaining original chairs, the green chair.
The original green.
The original
the
green
rebel
chairs.
one, yeah.
Everybody had the green chair. We had the cushion on the and you fold
Were
them
those
up in the
Costco?
middle.
Is that were the early Costco?
I don't
chairs?
even know where they
They
came
were probably
from.
G.I.
I'm not sure.
Joes.
I
But
don't know.
everybody had them. We all had them.
And the other thing that's morphed is that now your mother has a oven that she brings, an oven. We used to have a 2-burner stove, and we actually cooked a lot on the fire pit too.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
The kitchens are much nicer. And
Oh, yeah.
they came up with this sort
yeah,
of
you should show the
kitchen in
little
a
kitchen
box
thing.
thing, and you ought to show that out at some point, maybe.
It has a place for your
And-
sink and your drain and your.
It's really so much more comfortable. I mean, we weren't quite just kind of living off the fire, but we weren't a lot further along than that in those early days.
Biggest improvement you've seen? So yeah, just talking changes. Biggest improvement, and then the thing that's changed that you don't like, if there is one.
Well,
I would-
there's paved. The road's paved.
so is that
pros and
positive
cons there,
negative
right?
in your mind?
Well, it's positive and negative. I mean, it's positive in that it's easier to get here.
Do you remember what year that happened, or approximately? Had to be the 80s, right?
It was the 80s.
Oh, I
don't know
think it
for
was
sure.
later than that. I think it was in the 90s.
The negative is that it makes it more accessible for other people.
It was off to Tidy Drive. All of a sudden, it's like I remember Sunset Magazine came out
Yes.
with how wonderful off to Tidy Drive was, and we were like, oh no.
Well, and then Cycle Oregon
Cycle
had,
Oregon,
had
I've been
it,
on.
and people actually stayed in here. Some of the cyclists
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
stayed in
Well,
here.
I was on 2 Cycle Oregons, and both of. I'm on more than 2, but I mean 2 of them did come across this, so it became a very popular place. So yeah.
I would say so. That's a negative. I say the positive is that we don't have to have that terror as we get a mile from the
Yes.
campground.
Exactly.
Thinking, can we be on the river? Can we be on the river?
Can we get
be
a
on the
place at
river?
all?
Can we get a place at all? And I don't think we were disappointed ever that there was no place. We
no,
never
and
had to go anywhere
that
else.
one time we brought the tents
Yeah.
over here.
So
when
now
they
you
were
can
down.
reserve. That's nice, and it's also the outhouses are really well cared for. A few times we ran out of toilet paper, but we learned to bring our own.
We've learned
The
that.
positives is that this has become, and I think this is really important. Our kids, our grandkids, and their friends feel like this is a very special place.
Yeah.
Yeah, they identify with it as a tradition, which I didn't really quite have the same thing. We went camping, but nothing like this.
I don't think we ever envisioned it being quite like it is, but now it's people will come to me and say, "When's camping?" I mean, it's like they want to get it on their calendar. The people that we've reached out to or that have become part of the family. And last year, like Edie was saying, we had 30
Adam
30,
knows.
I think.
with these
Somewhere in
shirts.
the
With
30s,
these
yeah.
shirts, we all
Yeah.
have the shirts for the 50th anniversary of the first one. So we're starting our second 50 years.
You know, Adam, you asked about what's changed, maybe not for the better, other than what's been mentioned. But one thing you learn by going to the same place year after year is just really what happens in a forest, and through cycles and through weather events and so on. So this place looked very different. The river looked very different, and I could go a lot of places along this river and find a nice big deep pool and fish. I don't do that anymore anyway, and it's all changed. A couple of years, it changed dramatically in terms of the course, not the overall course of the river, but like where the rocks were. And I mean, I can't imagine what kind of a force must have been going on in order to make the kind of change that happened in 1 year. So the trees have all gotten bigger, and a lot of them have fallen down. And this year, as we all know, being here right now, a lot of them were taken down because of danger. And it's just a different scene altogether. So there's kind of like a lot more dead trees all around us. They don't clear this stuff out because this is a natural place, and you can, if it's possible, you can use some of it for wood. But basically, it's just going to lie where it stands,
It's going
and
to be
that's
a
okay.
forest.
And remember when that big tree went down in our number 4 right here?
Yeah.
We couldn't get out.
And we put the kids on top of it. This was a tree that was like 5 feet in diameter or something. It's incredible, big old tree. And we counted the rings once, a tree that was taken down by the Forest Service. And what was it, 150 or something? I don't know. A long, old
that's
tree.
when Bud used to go down when you were little and teach you all about the flora and fauna. And that was what was really fun when they were little, and Bud would say, now this is this, and come see this. And you learned a lot.
Are there certainly specific memories, but even specific years that are really sort of red letter years, like that was an especially great one that you can think of?
I remember when you probably need to give more details. You walked across the river on a log.
On the
and
log.
Scared me to death.
Yep.
I scared myself there too.
Like, what do you do when you get over there? How are you going to get back? And of course, that log's gone now. I don't know what year that was. How old were you?
The first time?
Oh, you did it more than
7.
once.
I mean, yeah, logs have come and gone. The
Yeah, but
most recent
all
time,
the
I
way
think I was
across the
30.
I think you had your older cousins kind of watching out for you. Not
But
that
still,
that
if
would
you
have
fall in the
helped had you
river-
fallen, but
They would have been able to watch me do it. There you go.
There have been a couple of times when we've been concerned about some of our family members have gotten lost.
Yes, when they haven't shown up
When
they
they've
were
shown up
supposed
4
to.
hours late, or maybe
Mentioning no names.
well, and then they did get lost. I mean, a couple of them
nobody
didn't
got
get.
lost. Nobody got lost.
Beth did.
Oh,
Beth
did
and
she?
Beth and
Chad,
Chad got
Beth
lost.
and Chad got
Oh,
lost.
little
that's
bit.
true.
They
yeah.
came back down over the hill,
Yeah.
holding. That was
So there was a little bit of terror a few times. There has been a lot of family dynamics over the years, and movement and growth and
separation,
different
change.
divorce. People
remarriage,
lives move on.
remarriage.
It's like the one thing I'm aware of. This changes, but it doesn't really. Like that tree's still here 50 years later. That one isn't. Remember when that one fell?
The overall,
yeah.
the way you feel when you walk in doesn't change much, and
No.
it's just like this.
And we have
awe-inspiring
we have
scene.
a tradition where we used to when we arrive in different cars now, where we play Uncle John's Band
Oh, we used to play John Denver.
by the Moody Blues.
Remember
Moody
John Denver?
Blues,
Yeah,
what did
yeah.
I just say? The Grateful Dead. Yeah, Uncle John's Band is generally on the radio when we.
The thing that cracks me up is a lot of people now have their own memories. Like the Blairs just pulled in, and they had the music sounding. And who else? Somebody says, so are we still doing the potluck? And Beth always sings at night.
Yes.
And
that was started when she was
huge.
what?
Remember
18
the
or
Camping
something.
Blues?
yes.
Camping
Oh
Blues.
yeah, Beth would go around, and she would have each person, and she would have a rhyme of a song. that she
She'd
put
do
together.
it. She'd wing it like only she can do, and being particularly clever with
And
it.
then and a huge potluck.
be on target
huge
with
potluck
people.
on Saturday
On
night.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
So people know the drill now. You don't have to send anything out. They just okay. And I used to do all the reservations and all the communication, but I'm getting old now, so Adam Willis now does that.
If the fates smile upon this place and its tradition, and this is going on 50 years from now, what do you have to say to the people of 2074 who are at Frissell
Oh, that's a heavy duty one.
for Frissell 101?
Embrace and protect.
Well, they better continue with our
That's
plan.
That's not a bad start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you want to learn, and I think one of the things that I thought was really great was you could teach little kids about the forest, and so teaching you would learn. I mean, I'm not a forester. I don't really know that much about how forests, but I'm been motivated to learn more, so I could teach you and your sister and my kids about what are these vine maples? Why do they grow sideways and the other
The
trees grow
canopy's
up?
gone. Yeah, the
And
canopy's gone.
you know, they reach out their little leaves like hands trying to catch a little bit of light that's going to might come through because the big trees are covering up light. And those kinds of things I would hope it'll be different. And who the hell knows what's going to happen with climate change?
I hope it doesn't burn down.
And I
before
would
then.
guess, you know, a lot of these trees could be pretty sick in 50 years, if not gone totally, but or at least not on the ground. But I would hope that whatever's there is
The
a
Forest
lesson for
Service,
everybody.
what we understand, are
And
trying to
appreciation.
keep
Yep.
the fur beetle gone.
Well, and the
It's
other thing is,
infesting.
when you come up here, you turn your devices off.
Yep.
No video games. You can play cornhole. You can play solitaire on the table, and you can play scavenger hunts like Adam always has the quest.
Oh.
But you turn that dang iPad off, and I hope that continues. Like, you know, more technology is going to hit. No AI up here. No AI in the forest.
I don't want to see any AI.
Yeah, it needs to be said, Adam, that you brought a whole new element. I don't know how many years ago. I'm sure you can tell us about planned events. And we would sometimes just sort of have spontaneous
Like
events,
that.
like let's all go up to the top of the hill and take a look at, you know, that beautiful meadow up there and take beautiful pictures and stuff. But you had quests, and that became something we look forward to, and were really fun and educational and everything else. And people all look forward to it. It was a Saturday afternoon thing, and it was great.
Plus,
Well-
you got prizes.
Yeah.
You won.
Yeah.
Teams won. Yeah.
We had hats. We had match a guy hats.
So I hope it continues a few more years. I hope that the forest continues. And also, when we had these terrible fires in Oregon more than once in the last decade or so, we were always terrified. Don't burn down Frissell. Don't burn down Frissell.
Well, and it hadn't, it last
Came
two-
perilously
very
close.
5 years ago,
Perilously
whatever it was,
close.
it was pretty close.
Yeah.
And now we have, you know, wood stripped of anything green at all. Not that
And you
far from
can't
here.
eat the fish anymore. That's one of my sad things. I used to love
Well,
to
they
eat-
don't stock it. It's all a natural fishery.
And I want some fish here.
Well, we'll buy some trout and bring it up for you.
If you can sum it up in one sentence, we'll start over here. What does Frissell mean to you?
Wow. Give me a minute. You go,
You wanna
Rick.
pass?
Yeah, I'll pass.
Well-
let me think.
I think
One word
One sentence.
or one sentence.
family, nature, period.
Oh,
Hope, love, beauty.
boy, I'd say. Boy, it is hard. I'd say peace. Peace.
Yeah. What would you say, Ad? Given that you're next generation.
I mean, that's a. We're going to do a kids one later.
Okay. Yeah, I
The,
know. Well, you don't have to put this in the recording. I just wonder what you do think about it.
Oh. Yeah, it's the tradition, togetherness, disconnecting some degree of, just sort of unavoidable serenity. Let's put it that way. Like you can't look around and not be.
Unavoidable.
You can try to stress out all you want, but at least until it gets dark, you really can't. When it's dark, you'll be like, oh, there's something moving in the forest. But until then, it's like,
Actually,
True enough.
night before last, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to freeze to death right here.
There's that.
Yeah.
And my mattress
You
is
just have to
down
remember
pillow.
your car's right there.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
That's great, Ad. Terrific.